Tomato Pizza, Coach Kevin McMillan joins us. Coach, well, I wonder where my paper went.
Sorry. Yeah, I was looking at it. Nice.
I've been over here looking for my notes for 5 minutes, and you're holding them. So now you know what all my questions are. So now you can just answer all my questions without.
I can handle it.
Now, this is the one thing I want to jump into is that coming into this season, you have 98 career wins. So congratulations. 2 more, and you will hit 100 for career.
That's kind of amazing when we considering we started.
Yeah. Now, what's cool about this is that the most wins for a coach in UT Martin women's basketball history, there's a tie with 105 between the great Nadine Guerin and Gary and Kim Van Atta. They both had 105. So you just got to go out and win 7 games, and you'll be among the elite right now.
Well, honestly, for Miss Nadine, I wish that we just say when we got to 104, we just start over again and start counting again and leave her at the top, just because – she was the mother, so to speak, of basketball and athletics in the state of Tennessee and UT Martin. And, her pictures in our locker room. And we've got a lot of things there that represent her and what she's meant to us. So I'll just start recounting.
Okay.
If we ever get that high, we'll just start recounting.
I'm good. And then what I think is kind of interesting is when you look back, for the most part, you being a high school coach at Westview when the Van Attas were here, and then knowing the late Nadine Guerin, of course, when she was here, because she was always with UT Martin, and I know you know Charmin Coley and Tara Tansel. So this history of women's basketball coaches, it's not like they're all over somewhere else. They all kind of hung around, or we all knew each other.
Yeah, and Charmin's down at Covington, and we still talk with her sometimes about players and what all's going on down there. And she and I coached against each other in high school. And she's come back up here. She cares a lot about UT Martin and the success that we've had in the last few years.
And Tara has hung around and teaches now.
I see Tara quite frequently in the hallways, and she and I mess with each other just like we always have. And she's great. And I've seen Gary out some. He's now in Nashville, and it's kind of an unusual situation to the coaching.
But congratulations on your 98 wins, and we're looking forward to you getting to 100 and then becoming the winningest coach of all time. Let's talk about this year's basketball team, Coach. You lose, from a scoring standpoint, the percentage of points that you lost with Jasmine and Heather, it might be as much as any team coming from just 2 players leaving.
Oh, I think there's no question. You're talking 50+%, and then if you add in their assists, you're probably digging up to 75%. Well, then add in the attention that they brought to themselves that got other people open with that you don't see in the assist, and I would, you could easily say 90% of our offense is gone, and that's a challenge for us right now. But
I'm excited about that because, and I'm going to sound like a fan instead of a broadcaster, but I consider you one of the best minds when it comes to basketball that I've ever met. And you're going to be really challenged again. And I can't wait to see that you respond because I know you'll answer the call.
Well, I tell you what, we talked about it this morning in the press conference. This is very, very, very similar to our first year. In that we've got a lot of different kids that can do stuff. No real superstar like the Butler and Newsomes out there. We can do a lot of different things, but figuring it out and getting them to do it, that's going to be we're going to be a much different team in January and February than we are in November.
Okay.
We're just not ready. We hadn't figured out what we need to do to be successful, and there's only one way to do that, and that's to play games. Well, that's not a good recipe for inexperienced, not sure what we're doing yet. The schedule that we put together, it's going to be a rough non-conference and early conference schedule while these kids figure it out. The thing that is interesting about this bunch, though, is potentially, when I hate that word potential, but potentially we have more weapons than we've ever had.
Yeah.
The problem is that we haven't figured out how to put all that together yet. So it could be.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly because in that first year, when it comes even to rotation of players, you only played 6 or 7 players. 6.
Yeah, we played 6.
Yeah, so you were coaching, but you didn't change the pieces in and out because you couldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
And then with Butler and Newsom on the same team, you only had really 3 substitutions because they're playing.
That's true.
I mean, you really have an open field with depth on this team that you can do a lot of things that you've not done in the last 5 years.
But there's a problem that comes with that too, and that means, but when you do something, all 12 have to be on the same page.
Right.
And so now you've added another problem in, because if one is not in, has not figured it out yet, or understands where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to do, or anything, well, then that's going to throw the other 4 off. So you might look at it. Let's say your point guard has figured out, she does things perfectly, but your post player messes it up while your point guard's out there. Well, you can't be for sure that your point guard really knew or who messed it up. So it really is going to be a challenge figuring out the meshing the lineups and who needs to be where. I mean, it just, today we were practicing and I was running late and I apologize, but we actually started clicking. And when we started clicking, we were scoring from 3 or 4 different spots, and it was looking really, really, really good. And that's the first time that they've really kind of looked good. And it was because I quit subbing and only had left 5 out there. And I mean, that could be a huge challenge. I mean, that could be something that we do. Even though we've got those kind of weapons that are there, maybe not be able to play them, because let this group figure it out, build our identity, and then these other ones have to plug into that.
Right.
That's an option.
Right.
So I mean, it's really going to be. It's like putting well, we talked about it today. It's like a puzzle, and the thing about this one is that we could be the puzzle that my little daughter does, Allie, who's got the little 5-piece puzzle, or we could be up to the 1,000-piece puzzle that you got to figure out. I hope we're the 1,000-piece puzzle that gets that good and that complicated and that impressive when you look at it. But we could be the little 5-piece puzzle.
I know it's going to be hard work for you, but I can't wait to watch it.
It's going to be fun. I really do. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And what you're going to see from us in the preseason is you will see slots in games where we will put it together and we will look really, really good. And then you will see slots where we don't put it together and we're going to look really, really bad. And we're just going to take that little short window that we looked really good, and we're going to try to make it get a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And then at the end of the season, when it's time, we hope that we're playing really well.
We'll take a break, and we'll come back and talk about the players. We'll talk about the pieces of that puzzle with Coach Kevin McMillan on the UT Martin Skyhawks Sports Network.